Hello and welcome to the Transformation Project, a podcast and community for women who are looking to transform into the best version of themselves no matter where they are at. A place where you can listen, learn, and laugh along with us as we dive deep into different topics to help you live a happier, healthier, and more fulfilled life. Remember, we are all learning here together, and therefore the content and opinions of the hosts and our guests should not be taken as medical advice. Please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Transformation Project. Happy belated New Year. It's been a really, really crazy start to the year, so we're a little delayed in getting back into it, but we're super excited to do so. We've really, really missed kind of connecting with all of you, and we really hope that you've missed connecting with all of us. So welcome back, Jess.
Welcome back. So good to be on. It's so funny. I've said a couple of people like, oh, Happy New Year. And it's like, I don't think you can say that in February. That doesn't seem right, even though you haven't seen those people.
The year has already flown though. Like I can't believe it's already.
I feel like especially for you, because like your kids are in school. Like mine are still in daycare. So like they still go the whole time.
Right. Yes.
So I don't know. I know.
I have my last one is, well, just this last week became a teenager. So my last child is now officially a teenager. This last week I turned 49. So I'm in the very last year of my 40s before I hit the fabulous 50s. I'm not scared.
Good.
So that's all happened. So yeah, even this week's been big, but it feels like the whole, literally since December has just been like a complete whirlwind.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're here.
We're back finally.
We're back. We're fabulous. We're excited. What's been happening in your world?
So I mean, I guess similar to you, but not as big. My kids transitioned to the next classroom in daycare. It was more big for Asher. He went from nursery to toddler. So that was definitely a stepping stone. Kinsley just went from whatever it is, like pre-kindy to kindy or something like that. So that she didn't notice anything. She didn't care about the change of classroom. All her friends were still with her. So, yeah, so I guess there was that transition in January. I have been doing a lot of work refinding my balance. I think that's probably how I would describe it. So I have just completed another triathlon, which was awesome, but I really wanted to make sure it wasn't going to mess me up hormonally.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, I am still breastfeeding Asher. But my period has come back. So I've had it now for almost 6 months, but it's not regular. And my period's always been so regular. So this has been like big for me.
Yeah.
And I've been just tracking and stuff like that. I'm not looking to go back on birth control or anything like that. And I'm still trying to convince Ben to have a vasectomy, but that's a different topic.
Come on, Ben.
Do it. But he's like, what if we want another kid?
I'm pretty sure
we'll get a dog.
Maybe we need to get someone on to talk about that. I'm pretty sure they're reversible.
That I have heard that as well, and I told him. So anyway, so I've been doing all the hard work and just tracking and stuff, but because my period is so irregular still at the moment, I really wanted to make sure I wasn't overtraining at the wrong times. Yeah. I've been doing lots of studies just about, what kind of physical activity you should do when you're ovulating, what you should do when you're closer to your period, during your period, that kind of stuff. So, like what you should do, basically just living cyclically.
Yes.
How I eat, if I socialize at certain times of the month, that kind of thing. So that's really taken up a fair amount.
And we have a really awesome podcast episode about that, by the way. If everybody
that's really what got me into it.
Yeah. If anyone's interested, go back.
Yeah.
We have a podcast episode on that one.
Yeah, with Gemma Lee. She was awesome. I follow her on Instagram and I just soak up everything she's talking about. So, yeah. And then otherwise, I guess the only other thing is my mom's visiting from Canada.
Yes. And Mom did the triathlon with you.
Mom did her first mini triathlon. She did so well. She was so nervous and I went off before her. So she then had to wait like an hour and a half. And I think the anticipation maybe started getting to her. That was like, she looked stressed. Like, yeah, but I finished in really good time. And then I didn't even stop and catch my breath. I just booked it to the start line so I could see her go.
You could see her come in.
Yeah. So I
And
can
she
see her
looks so
start.
cute.
Yeah,
Coming over
no,
the
she did so
line,
well.
doing her in a little swimsuit.
Yeah.
It's so
So
cool
I
that you
asked
guys
her,
can do that together.
yeah, I asked her today, I was like, so like, are you addicted? Do you hate me? Like, what, where are we here on the spectrum? And she's like, no, she's like, I don't want to say like I told you so. She's like, but I think I will do another one. I will
So
continue
she's
with
never
this.
done a triathlon before.
No,
So she came all the way to Australia. She's literally been here like what, a week?
not even 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks.
Not even 2 weeks. You.
Everyone's like, you're so mean. You can't do that to your mom. I'm like, she loves it, I'm sure.
Oh, she loves you.
Yeah, so no, she did a fabulous job. It was so good. But yeah, so she's gonna think about doing another one
Maybe
back
doing another
home.
one.
I'm sure maybe because she kind of comes out this time every year. I'm sure I can convince her to do another one this time next year.
Yeah. I have to say, like, just looking at your posts yesterday after you finished, and even today, you looked amazing. Like, you did not look trashed or exhausted. Like, if you guys could see Jessica, she's glowing. She's always glowing. But
I've taken a half day today. It's not like
yeah, but I mean, you're looking great. You don't look like you've wiped yourself out. So I think whatever research you did and whatever you've been following, which may be interesting for people actually talking about some of that triathlon.
Yeah, we could definitely dive into it. Yeah, because after my last triathlon last year, I like got super sick. I got tonsillitis. It was a rough go after, and bad timing, but it was also going into my period, which is when they say is like when your immune system's at its lowest because your body is potentially getting ready to have a baby. Like,
yeah.
So your immune system shuts down before your period, which makes sense. So I planned this one a little bit better.
You did. Aren't bodies clever?
They sure are.
They're super smart.
You are.
Well, my travels since December have been interesting, to say the least. I have my whole health and everything has kind of gone in a completely different direction. In December, we went away on holidays up to Ellie Beach, which was beautiful. And somewhere in the middle of the holiday, we decided we were going to go snorkeling and helicopter rides and whatever. So we did all that on the day. We had a fantastic day. Literally at 4 o'clock, I was snorkeling, got out of the water onto the boat, drove an hour back to shore. And when we got to shore, I literally was in so much pain with my lower back, I couldn't walk off the boat. And so we weren't sure what had happened. I've never had low back pain before. It's not something I've ever struggled with. If you guys have been following me for some time, you know my husband's a chiropractor. So my spine is great.
Yeah,
generally have trouble.
You were taking care of it?
Yeah, I take care of it. Like in the past, I have struggled. Again, if you've been listening for any time, you would know that in the past, I used to struggle severely with migraines. And so I certainly have had x-rays of my neck. I've had, CTs and MRIs of my head, like all that sort of stuff, right? Looking for tumors and all kinds of things, but I've never had anything on my lower spine. So a month after this all happened, I was still in excruciating pain every day. And we had to kind of concede that there's possibly something more going on than a pulled muscle. Went for, my husband sent me for an x-ray. And I can still remember I was in the pool, and because that's where I was most comfortable, kind of feeling a bit more buoyant. And he came home and I was like, so am I going to live? And he was like, well, I've actually never seen an x-ray like that before. And I started laughing because I thought he was joking. He's got a pretty dry sense of humor, but he was not.
Not in this case.
He was not joking. And so it turns out I actually have a congenital deformity in my lower spine called spina bifida occulta. And so a lot of moms, like most moms, would know about spina bifida. It's why, for the most part, people take, prenatal vitamins and stuff. And so spina bifida occulta simply just means spina bifida hidden is what occulta means. And so I've had it since I was born. And literally the base of my spine is kind of twisted sideways, has grown like a little extra piece of bone out just for fun. And then I guess my body, in trying to adapt to that, I've now developed like severe degenerative arthritis in that whole area of my body. And they can't even figure out, like when I went to go see the neurosurgeon, because that was by the time we had like x-rays and CTs and MRIs, and finally went to visit the neurologist and neurosurgeon. He was like, so you've never done this before? Like, I've never had an x-ray of my lower back before. Like, and because of the way that this deformity is, the deformity kind of part of it is on the inside of my body, if that makes sense, not the side.
Yeah.
So for somebody, like a chiropractor, for example, it's impossible to
They wouldn't even
know
feel
that that's there.
Yeah.
Because you can't feel it from the outside. It's all on the back end. And I've had 2 pregnancies, normal birth. No one has ever picked it up. Now, to be honest, if you Google it, like on the, if you just hit Dr. Google, you will get a lot of like, it's no big deal. And for some people, I guess it would be like me. I've gotten
your whole life has been it's been no big deal.
It's been no big deal. Why suddenly it's become an issue, and why it happened within like 4 o'clock you're aces and you're snorkeling, and 5 o'clock nobody can explain that. However, it has remained. So the pain has remained, and we're now in mid-February. Yeah. So ultimately, it's now become an exercise in how do we fix this, knowing everything we know. I'm incredibly blessed that I am surrounded by a husband who's a chiropractor, family and friends who are, naturopaths and nutritionists and all sorts of things. So really the goal is to try and figure out a natural way to try and deal with it, especially things like painkillers. Because we've also discovered that I have a severe sensitivity to opiates. So anything that's got like codeine in it or morphine or anything like that, I can have like, and this is also weird, I was never before, when I had migraines before, I used to take like Nurofen Plus and whatever. But now, should I take one Nurofen Plus, 3 days later, I will still be vomiting and they'll have me in hospital.
Oh God.
On a drip. So my painkillers I can take are very limited. And I don't want to build up a resistance to them. Yeah. And I also, for the most part, am not comfortable with long-term pain medication use.
Yeah.
Because it's crap for your body.
Yeah.
So
it's just something else your body has to process, right? Like it's a
and your liver
toxin.
And your kidneys and your stomach and everything. Like I'm like, we see so many people like that, where you get into like the spiral of taking one thing for the side effects of the next things, for the side effects of the next thing. So we have gone the CBD oil route. At the moment, it's been, I think, maybe 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, I would have said about a month. Maybe
4 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And so the one that I'm on doesn't have any of the THC in it. See, I'm still trying to learn. I know nothing about CBD oil or marijuana use or whatever. I tried marijuana once when I was 14 with a friend who may or may not listen to this podcast, perhaps, and will not be mentioned. But it did not work out well. I decided at that age, clearly the stuff was not for me.
Wasn't for you.
I know nothing about it ever since. So, but anyway, so it doesn't have that in, so I can still drive my car. Doesn't take the pain away, takes the edge off.
Okay.
Because I was at the point where, like my kids would drop a towel on the floor and I would just burst into tears because I couldn't bend down to pick it up.
Yeah.
Or my mother-in-law, who is 80, would offer to take my laundry basket downstairs for me because I can't do it. And I would burst into tears because my 80-year-old mother-in-law is carrying my laundry basket because I can't. So it's really been a massive like mind shift for me.
Yeah.
Being somebody who's like super active, super busy all the time, on the go, to having to like reassess all of that stuff. I'm having to lose a lot of weight very quickly. The thought process behind that is that the less weight that my body has to carry, the less pressure there is on the nerves of that portion of my spine. So by the time we're done, it'll be about 18 kilos that I'll be dropping. And so that's entertainment in itself. And we can go into what I'm doing with that. I'm doing clinical Pilates with a physio who is specialized in that area. And again, I'm excited to go into that because I had no idea. I thought like Pilates was just, inner city ladies with lattes and whatever, right? I had no idea.
It's a whole culture.
Yeah, like that's my picture of like Pilates, right? Is like suburban ladies doing whatever. But it turns out Pilates was actually brought in by like Dr. Pilates or somebody or other Pilates to help men recover from coming back from the war.
Yeah.
So interesting. So we're doing that, lots of different things that we're trying to do to try and negotiate that, because surgery is, and all sorts of other things like injecting stuff into that site and whatever is tricky. My anatomy is not like anybody else's. There's even bits of my pelvis that are not there or not formed properly. And so all of that would have to be done under like MRI scan for them to do it. And even then they've
it's extra complicated.
Yeah, it's super complicated. Yeah. And the same thing for surgery. Like they would literally have to go in and try and brace that section. And it's a very long, involved, intricate surgery, long recovery, not a great success rate.
Outcome. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, girl, it's on you. Let's work it out. And everybody around me who's supporting you, and everybody's been amazing. So there's been some awesome like mindset stuff I've had to do. A lot of people that I've been talking to around pain, a lot of stuff that we have been talking to about weight loss and all sorts of different things. So I am really excited to have some of those people on to talk to you guys. And also, I guess, with regards to like staying positive, because I think people underestimate that. I actually had somebody, I did a Facebook post on this, and I had somebody reach out to me to say, how dare I say that I was in chronic pain? I don't understand what that is, because clearly I'm smiling too much and I'm too positive. And I was like, I think you don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that doesn't, you can't assess one by the other. Like just because I'm smiling when I'm talking doesn't mean that I'm not struggling.
Yeah.
But that's not going to stop me smiling. Right? Because that's just how I roll anyway.
Love it.
But there's some mindset work that goes into that. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of gratitude. There's a lot of all sorts of things that go into that. And so, between all the things that have happened just in the last little bit of time since Jess and I have last spoken to you, we've got so much that we're
so much
excited. We've got some great guests set up. As always, if you guys have any guests that you'd like us to speak to, let us know, or topics that you want us to cover. We've had a lot of guests in the past year that literally came from you guys. And your suggestions of what you would like to hear, and we went out and found them.
Yeah, those are sometimes the best questions and stuff. Yeah, very exciting. Yeah, lots of things to talk about, lots of different avenues we can go, and I think that's kind of the biggest. It always comes back to transformation. It's everyone's individual transformation. How can you have your own transformation? It doesn't need to be this huge, I don't know, losing 300 pounds. Like it doesn't, I think when, at least before we started this podcast, that when I heard transformation, that's always kind of what came back to me. But transformation is so much more than that. The transformation from becoming just a woman to a mother, the transformation going through all the stuff that you're going through. There's so many different things. So I love it. I love it. That's a topic we always get to circle back to.
Yes, 100%. So we are so excited for the rest of this year. We hope that we will be able to help you transform in whichever way works out for you. And we can't wait to welcome you back to our next episode of the Transformation Project. And we look forward to seeing you then, wherever you are in the world and whatever you're doing. We hope you have an incredible day, and we'll speak to you next time on The Transformation Project. Thank you for listening in to this episode of The Transformation Project. The Transformation Project is not just a podcast, we're also a community. We're a collective of like-minded people all around the world seeking to live their best life and raise each other up. We're looking to support you, set goals, get healthier, connect with yourself and others at a deeper level, and better understand yourself and the world around you. We're always looking to link arms with like-minded people, wanting to create more out of life. You can connect with us via our website, which is www.thetransformationproject.net.au. Email us at support@thetransformationproject.net.au, or simply listen in to one of our podcast episodes, which can be found on all podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can even watch some of our episodes on our YouTube channel, simply called The Transformation Project. Please like and subscribe to make sure you hear all the incredible shows and guests we have lined up. If you have any feedback or any comment, we would love to hear those, as well as any ideas or guests that you think we should be interviewing in future. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Transformation Project.